Summer is right around the corner. If you know me, you know it's not really my favorite season for a lot of reasons that I won't get into. Something I can get into, though, is that the folks at Mint Mobile say that getting a summer bod is out and getting your savings bod is in. This spring and summer, Mint Mobile wants to see your skimpy wireless bills and fat wallets. Premium wireless plans for just $15 a month. You can have both without breaking a sweat or the bank. Say bye to your overpriced wireless plans with jaw-dropping monthly bills and unexpected overages. Mint Mobile is going to rescue you. All Mint Mobile plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. The best part is that you can use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and bring your phone number along with you. Ditch overpriced wireless and get 3 months of premium wireless service from Mint Mobile for $15 a month. This year, skip breaking a sweat and breaking the bank. Get your summer savings and shop premium wireless plans at mintmobile.com/diaries. That's mintmobile.com/diaries. Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month 5GB plan required, equivalent to $15 a month. New customer offer for 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See Mint Mobile for details.
My parents did an incredible job of helping me build healthy associations with money. It wasn't just about learning numbers, it was about understanding how balance and intentionality shaped our financial lives. Those early lessons set me up for success and helped me navigate the real world with more confidence when it came to money. And it's a big reason why I'm so excited to share today's sponsor with you, Acorns Early. Acorns Early is a smart money app and a debit card for kids that helps them learn the value of money. Kids can spend what they earn with their very own debit card. They'll love the new sense of independence and getting to choose from 35 plus customizable card designs. Plus, parents can keep track of where and when their kids are spending. You can get real-time spend notifications, set your kids' spending limits, and instantly block lost or stolen cards. They might not realize it now, but starting to invest early is going to have a huge impact on their financial future. And the best part? It's simple. And Acorns Early is such a smart, accessible tool to do that. If you're looking for a way to make a real difference in the financial future of the younger people in your life, Acorns Early is an amazing place to start. Ready to help your kids learn the value of money? Just head to acornsearly.com/diaries or download the Acorns Early app to get started. Sign up now and your first month is on us. T&Cs apply. Monthly subscription fee starting from $5 per month unless canceled.
USAA knows dynamic duos can save the day, like superheroes and sidekicks or auto and home insurance. With USAA, you can bundle your auto and home and save up to 10%. Learn more and get a quote at usaa.com/bundle. Restrictions apply.
Hello and welcome back to Unscripted. This is our first video episode. I'm really excited but nervous to start filming. And if we hate it, maybe we'll wait to start putting videos out. But it's something we've been waiting to do for a really long time. So I guess I'm glad we're doing it. But also I have to get ready now.
Yeah, we can't just roll out of bed, unfortunately.
No, it's unfortunate. But I'm still wearing my husband's shirt. So I guess I'm getting some kind of comfort that I'm not letting go. So,
But Unscripted, for those who aren't familiar, is where we talk about things that we've found online recently, because we are chronically online, and just things we would talk about on the phone in our everyday life that we find interesting. I'm Natalie.
And I'm Paige.
And this week, the past couple of days actually have been filled with a lot of news recently, at least especially for the Catholic Church. And as two cradle Catholics, I feel like we find this information pretty interesting. And it is something that is world news, even if you aren't Catholic. But the Catholic Church has appointed a new pope, Pope Leo XIV, and his election actually is something of a historic moment because he's the first ever US-born pope, and he's the 267th leader of the Catholic Church. So it's wild that the leader of the Catholic Church was born and raised in Chicago and speaks English, fluent English. That was his first language.
I'm living for all the people that are posting him with that song, like Papa Americano.
I've seen that one, and I've seen the Nicki Minaj Bob, because his name's Robert. That's what the name he was born into, Robert Prevost.
Or Prevost,
something like that. Yeah. And his friends and people acquainted with him call him Bob. And so there's a Nicki Minaj song where it's just Bob, and they have pictures of him popping up. It's pretty funny.
Somebody else posted just this older tan guy sitting on I think it was like a lawn chair of sorts, and has a beer, and it said, "Imagine you're the Pope, but this is your brother in Florida." So I wonder if he really does have a brother in Florida, or if they're just referencing the fact that he is American.
No,
I don't know.
Okay. I've been getting so many videos about him, his family. He does have two brothers. One, in fact, is in Florida. The other is in Illinois. But let me give you a little bit of background, I guess. So just for those who may not be familiar with the process of being elected Pope, there's this event called a conclave, where basically 135 cardinals vote in total secrecy. You don't know who voted for whom. And the process basically secludes them from everyone. They don't have contact with the outside world. So that means no phones, no press, no leaks. And the only way that you know that they made a decision is when they burn their vote and white smoke comes out of the Sistine Chapel, which is where they do the voting in Vatican City. And we'll get to the brothers, but I just want to give a little bit more background. So he made his first appearance on the balcony of St. Peter's Basilica, and he opened with "Peace be with you all." He spoke Italian, Spanish, and Latin, which apparently signal both tradition and his global fluency, because he, while he is American born, spent 2 decades in Latin America, in Peru specifically. So he's fluent.
Or Argentina?
Maybe both, but I at least know it was South America. So yeah, he was a missionary. He spent 2 decades in South America. But now to the family. He has 2 older brothers. He's the baby of the family. It's a family of 3 boys. And his oldest brother is named Louis, and his middle brother's name is John. And these men have been giving so many interviews. They're clearly very excited, and they haven't said anything inappropriate, but I have to wonder, what does their brother, the Pope, think when they're giving these interviews about him and his new position? They've shared some really funny stories about him as a kid, and one I love. I believe both have told a similar story, but I did see the brother John talking about it. And he said that as kids, they would like to play like cowboys or cops and robbers. But Rob, their brother, who is now the Pope, liked to play priest. And they would use the ironing board as the altar. And he would hand out Necco wafers as the host, which is what the priest gives people in church if you've done your first Holy Communion. So I just thought that was really funny. And then it was just their way of saying they felt he was always destined for priesthood. And then apparently one of the neighbors told him when he was 6 years old, he was going to be the first American Pope. So prophecy, just being sweet and funny. I don't know, but that's wild. That was something that came true 60 years later, because he's in his 60s now.
Not even just becoming the Pope came true, even the part about being the first American Pope. So it is exciting, and it is a moment.
Right? It's wild.
With all Pope appointments, there is something historical behind it, some kind of significance. There's a reason why, after making it all the way up the ladder of the Catholic Church, that they do get voted to be the Pope. There's a reason. There's something special. It means something to the church, to the people of the church, that kind of stuff. But it is interesting, this idea between cradle Catholics versus converts. And it's just been interesting to see the difference in dynamics, the different ways that the church is embraced in times like these. Yeah, I was just really noticing like a difference in culture almost. And I'm not saying that negatively, but you can definitely sometimes tell who's cradle, who's not, by the way that they act. And when you're a cradle Catholic, not only are you born into it, but then you're doing your sacraments. And so the sacraments keep you part of the church, whether you go every Sunday or not. And interestingly enough, it's my understanding that there are also Mormons who typically here in California, Mormons are seen as pretty devout. They do regularly go to church. They do regularly participate in the sort of like their versions of the sacrament that their church has at certain ages. They do certain traditions and stuff. But I guess in Utah, there are Mormons that are cradle Mormons where they might not be super devout. They might not go every Sunday, or if they do, it's not as serious. Maybe they drink coffee, things like that. And everybody deserves to be able to have a spiritual practice, but also understand what they're comfortable with in a modern way. And we saw this on, oh my gosh, why can I not think of the name of the show? Because we love it and it's coming back May 14th.
Wait. Oh, yes. The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. I was going to ask you if you've been seeing all the promo.
Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. I have been seeing the promo. Again, I'm pretty sure it's May 14th that it's coming out.
Oh, it's
2.
close. It's a couple days away from this recording.
I will be binging if I can, but I do think we had to wait week to week when it came out last year. So a little bit sad about that, but that's okay. That's a modern problem. But it is odd, though, is it not, when shows don't allow you to binge? Even HBO will release a show with at least 3 episodes, if not the whole show, all 10 episodes or 8 to 10.
I think it's a very real indicator of where we are as a society and our attention span, because we really have fried these little attention spans of ours between social media, TikTok, and even just internet speed. We're used to things being at the tips of our fingers versus back when we were first learning to use the internet, we had dial-up. We had to wait however long to sign into AIM.
And you couldn't be on the phone and you had to make sure everybody knew you were going to sign on. I'm getting on the internet.
Or your mom gets on the phone to call her friend and you're like, Mom, I'm on the internet, or whatever.
Because it's going to boot you off, remember?
Yeah.
It would boot you off. I used to do that. This is a landline for any young people. You would pick up your landline and you would toggle the little like hang up button thing and you go beep. You would just keep pushing it up, down, up, down,
Basically,
up, down. This is
Morse
not
code.
like even a cordless. This is a wall phone, wall landline. You would just push it and it would knock them off. Most people with multiple siblings knew how to do this. So...
And this is coming as a true youngest child that you're saying you knew exactly how to knock everyone
Oh,
off.
yeah. I knew I had no rights to booting anybody off by asking. So I just had to do it.
Or they wouldn't listen.
Oh, right. And my oldest sister wasn't living with us, but I had my brother, I had my other sister. So people were using the internet, especially when it first came out and my brother was still at home. And then it was me and my sister. And Lord knows I didn't mind booting her off if I needed to. That's who I probably booted off the most. Poor Kara. But I remember doing it.
I'm sure I could guess.
Yep. No, but we had several cordless phones, but then we had one phone that was on the wall. And that's
Was it
one
in the kitchen and did it have a really long cord? Because I swear all moms had the longest cord on the kitchen phone. And I think ours was like 6 feet long. And when you would hang it up on the wall, it would just dangle.
It was so long because
they had to walk around and cook while they were talking on the phone to their friends or whatever.
yes, or you might want to have it on your shoulder and go into a different room for privacy if you were a different member of the family because it was in a central location. This was indeed the quote kitchen phone, but we actually took that phone out of the kitchen and put it in the connecting family room because the kitchen and the family room were right there. And then we had the cordless phone in the kitchen. So we had the landline that would not die out from a battery or anything in the family room that you could look at it from the kitchen. You could see that phone. So it still operated that same way, but we took it out. I think, I don't know, it would have been probably late 90s by the time we moved it to this cordless and a counter, having it in the counter in the kitchen, probably because didn't want to deal with the long cord anymore and would rather just have a cordless. I remember our first cordless phone. It was huge. It was white and it was gray and had a antenna on it. I will never forget the cordless phone, our first cordless phone. And the one we got rid of with the long cord was yellowy and old.
I feel like in movies at the time, all of the really cool teenagers would have these see-through purple, pink, teal. One of the colors cordless phones, and it was always super cool to watch them. And then anyone I knew would buy a cordless phone. It would be some ugly thing, from Target.
Yeah, it would be like a solid color or whatever. Yep. But I had the type of phone you're talking about. My sister had a green one. I had a purple one. Duh. Because when you break it down, you got a pink sister and a purple sister.
Or a blue and a pink sister.
You could have a blue and a pink or a purple and a green. And this is how that worked. Because my sister, who, by the way, she announced this a couple weeks ago, she hates pink. She does not like pink. In fact, we share a favorite color of purple, but she likes a lot of colors. But purple, I'm pretty sure, is her favorite color. But so her phone, she didn't want a pink one. She got green. And then a year later, I was like, ooh, I like her phone. I want the purple one. So we got a purple one. But before that, I had a not cordless phone that was completely clear and see-through with a little pink bell part that's inside was pink. If you look at DJ Tanner's phone, I had basically the same phone, but her little bell ringer was red. I'm almost positive. That's some Full House trivia right there, because I grew up on that show for sure. Full House, Family Matters, all the time, and Fresh Prince. But yeah, so DJ Tanner's phone, if you look at her phone, that's the type of phone I had, but my little bell was pink. So I had all the clear phones because I thought they were so cool too. It was like modern.
Yeah, it was young and hip.
Yeah. And the ones that you specifically were referencing that were colored, but yet still see-through, they were opaque, those were VTech.
Okay.
And I want to bring that back.
You should.
I want to bring it back. We got rid of landlines so long ago. Do you have landlines?
I don't, but my mom was really hesitant to get rid of hers. And actually, she just made a point because they were doing some construction at their house. And she was like, if I cover this area up, I can't have my landline. And we're like, good, you don't need it.
When my parents moved several years ago, same neighborhood, but moved, that's when they finally got rid of the old number. And it felt nostalgic to me, though. It felt like the end of an era, and such a long era, and an end to my childhood, because that number was our number forever. And it was really an easy number to remember. And it was so cool. It made a specific way down the phone numbers. So it was really easy to remember. I could probably say it, but somebody might have it. So just
play it
for that reason, I won't. Yeah. But it felt sad. But my mom, as loving as she is, she's not sentimental. Like all our stuff from kids, garage sale or got rid of it, that stuff, she's really good at making home. And I was nervous about that because I had never moved in my childhood. So when they bought this house in the same neighborhood, it felt comforting. But I was like, okay, but is it going to feel right to have the house I grew up in
lived in by someone else?
And lived in by somebody else, which they did a beautiful job, by the way. They did a beautiful job, except they put turf in the front yard and it looks like turf. It looks pretty because it's green all the time. Here in California, it'll get brown because if it gets really hot and we have certain water restrictions and stuff. But yeah, it looks like they could have maybe spent a little more money on the turf that they picked. But turf is expensive, so I can't blame them.
It's expensive, but I've also heard that there are some studies being conducted on whether or not it can or be related to the cause of childhood cancers because it's made with plastic and it's off-gassing all of its toxic chemicals.
Including probably PFOs, PFOAs, PFAs, which those are the forever ones. Watch Deep Waters if you want to learn more about those, by the way. They are not the kind of chemicals that your body gets rid of. It's not even conspiracy stuff. We're not spreading misinformation.
It's literally in the name.
I never thought about that with turf, but it's so right.
And it's not just turf that is causing these things. We have the rubber pellets that people put in their own playground sets, or even cities put in the playground sets. So it's bouncy and cushioned for when kids fall rather than the bark. And then this actually is a really great unplanned transition to my next story that I wanted to bring up. So literally maybe 3-4 days ago, there was a recent study published in JAMA. It's the Journal of American Medical Association. And
sounds legit to me.
It's legit. I actually looked at the study, but there are other news sources that have covered this, like Newsweek and other prominent sources.
It sounds like it means that it would be peer reviewed.
Yes. It uncovered a connection, basically, of people living within a mile of a golf course were found to have a 126% higher risk of developing Parkinson's disease than those living more than 6 miles away. And the reason for that is the researchers were able to link that the pesticides that are being used on the golf courses, that exposure, especially through drinking water, is what is causing this connection between people being diagnosed with Parkinson's disease later on in life and their proximity to golf courses, because a lot of these houses in the area will share water sources with the golf course irrigation systems. And so it's in the water and they're the ones being most impacted by it.
Wow. Or even maybe too, for members of golf clubs where you might dine there a lot and drink that water, maybe bringing your own water is better. And maybe many people do, but I don't know once you enter the club if you're allowed to pull out your flippin' hydro flask. So I don't know, but that's very interesting. And they should look at heart problems too, because I know that Roundup specifically causes heart problems, and Bayer, which makes aspirin, which certain heart conditions require aspirin, they cause the issue with Roundup, which they also own, and then they own the medication that solves it. So I don't know link to timing of Roundup's creation versus that. So I'm not saying that they created both and knew that they were going to have a problem, or if they were like, hey, cool, we have a problem, but let's go ahead and solve it and capitalize on that too, which all of it's gross
it is
anyways,
a little icky.
But
they know
it's
the
way
problem.
icky.
They are profiting from the solution, and they have their hands in both. But something that was interesting, especially because we are SoCal based, is that this study tested 711 municipal wells, and it was across counties in the Midwest, like Wisconsin, Minnesota. And they found that there was a really high prominence of Parkinson's rates due to proximity of these golf courses in the Midwest, but also in Southern California, because that's all we have here. So it's just wild to think that this disease that affects 10 million people and 1.1 million people in the US could be not caused, but at least exacerbated by where you live and the water you're drinking.
Spring is here, and it's time for some spring cleaning. HomeGlow is here to deliver consistent and affordable support for you, too, to get your spring cleaning done. HomeGlow is a top-rated service platform dedicated to making your space clean and tidy. Their website allows you to book online, which allows you to instantly schedule a cleaner in your area for a special occasion, that party you're getting ready to host, or just to book some regular help to take some things off your plate. What's comforting is that cleaners have to pass a rigorous certification process, and they also have to maintain a 4.8-star average platform rating. We know you're going to love your cleaners, so make sure you rate them really well too. HomeGlow is also a fantastic way to support the cleaners in your community, because 100% of the cleaning fees and tips go directly to the cleaner that you hire through HomeGlow. With that, we are so thankful that this episode is brought to you in part by HomeGlow. Now let's talk about their Forever Clean membership. Schedule your cleaning by simply going to HomeGlow's website, choose the day and time you're looking for, and how long you want the cleaner to clean for. Then you'll get matched with a cleaner. You can schedule as quickly as this week or get something on the calendar for next month to check it off your to-do list early. On the website, you'll be able to check out photos and reviews of background checked cleaners before booking the right cleaner for you. The best part is that Forever Clean membership we talked about, which saves you $30 an hour on all future cleanings. You can book unlimited cleanings starting at $19 an hour, backed by HomeGlow's happiness guarantee. HomeGlow services are only available in the US. Take cleaning off your plate by using HomeGlow. Head to homeglow.com/diaries to get your first 3 hours of cleaning for only $19.
Hilton brings you new ways to stay. With experiences that let you capture the glory days. Introducing the Graduate Hotels. Each inspired by local college towns, these stays are always original and never boring. Get in touch with traditions all across the country and enjoy a stay that's a class above the rest. Book at Graduate Hotels with Hilton Honors Points at Hilton.com. It's a win-win. Hilton, for the stay.
Are your business expenses playing hide and seek? With Uber for Business, the small spends that slip through the cracks, like rides and meals, go right where you need them. Because it integrates with leading expense platforms, you can say goodbye to surprise costs, missing dollars, or chasing receipts. Everything's track downable. Uber for Business. Make small steps that make a big impact. Learn more at uber.com/small steps.
Are you still quoting 30-year-old movies? Have you said cool beans in the past 90 days? Do you think Discover isn't widely accepted? If this sounds like you, you're stuck in the past. Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. And every time you make a purchase with your card, you automatically earn cash back. Welcome to the now. It pays to Discover. Learn more at discover.com/credit card, based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
My cat Freddie loves to be brushed and cuddled. But stirring up his cat allergens meant sneezing and itchy eyes. Then I found Purina One Live Clear. It's cat food that reduced the major allergen and my suffering in as little as 21 days. Now, we feel closer than ever. If you have issues with cat allergens, you really need to try Purina One Live Clear.
Try new Purina One Live Clear today. Purina One, a difference from day one.
That's interesting because we have entire neighborhoods that are attached to golf courses, and many of them are aimed towards retirement, but they are seen as luxury neighborhoods. They're not cheap. And then it's going to possibly play a role in you developing Parkinson's. Because I love that you made sure to mention that, because a lot of things are genetic and then those genes are turned on by your environment. That's just the truth. Think about autoimmune issues. I have an autoimmune condition. There's a lot of people in my family that have a autoimmune or the autoimmune condition that I have. And we're all very lucky to be mostly healthy and stuff, but we all carry that gene. And so with inflammation and things like that, we now know that can turn on that autoimmune condition and start making your immune system attack. Mine started doing it when I was a kid, though. I think I was maybe 2, 3, 4 when I first started having signs of my autoimmune condition.
And the interesting thing about autoimmune, at least from my own experience, is that typically if you have one, you'll be diagnosed with another or two more.
Don't tell me that. I didn't know that.
It happens.
No.
They tend to run in families, and
yeah, it's very genetic.
it's very genetic. But like you said, it can be influenced by your environment.
Your environment clicks that on. The genes are in you, and then the way you eat or the way you do certain things can heavily influence that. And that is going to vary for everybody's body. A type 1 diabetic, there's really not a way to fight against that, but there are other versions of diabetes like type 2 that you can manage a little bit easier. Easy is not really easy with diet. Or the one I have, you can often manage it with diet, but not always. It depends on what's influencing it. So you don't always know. And it reminds me when I brought up cancer to, listen, I am psycho and I understand that, but I had to change Posey's diet because she had a second flare of her IBD due to some food allergies that she has. And she started reacting to the food that she was on, which I loved the food she was on. She loved it. But unfortunately, she started reacting to it. She stopped eating it. We had to switch her underneath the care of her vet and her veterinary nutritionist. Yes, we are crazy and have to work with a veterinarian who also does extra work in nutrition because of her condition. We have to make sure that she is healthy. It's not just a bougie choice. It's something we have to do. So anyways, I was working with them on her new diet. And while I was happy that she didn't have symptoms anymore or was healthy and eating again, I brought up cancer. I'm like, look, she's on a much more processed diet now. And I know food is usually processed to some extent, even your whole foods to a certain extent, to keep us healthy and keep crops going and stuff. And I asked about that. I'm concerned about cancer. And she just looked at me and she goes, honestly, we're 10 years behind human health when it comes to cancer and cancer research. And there is so much that goes into what can cause cancer. There really isn't always, even from what I took away, because now I don't want to over paraphrase, was that there are so many variants that contribute to what may cause cancer to grow in a living being's body that you almost can't even always contribute it to one thing. And that was helpful to me. But she also was saying, yeah, your dog in an IBD flare is way more likely to give her a type of cancer than her eating a processed diet with no symptoms. Because when you have that much inflammation in your body, which IBD can be autoimmune, allergy related, or infection related. And hers is allergy related, which is a little easier to manage than autoimmune. And then I asked my cousin, who's also a veterinarian, the same thing. And she agreed there's really not a lot of cancer prevention that you can do for yourself or for animals. You can keep yourself as healthy as possible, good movement, eat good whole foods, enjoy processed foods too, but at a minimum, and just things like that. But you can also take a look at the class 1 carcinogens, which are known to cause cancer in humans, and limit your intake of those. Your salami, probably don't want to eat that a lot. Your bacon, class 1 carcinogen. Alcohol, class 1 carcinogen. Aspartame and Diet Coke, it's class 2 or 3 right now. Okay. So they don't know and they wonder, and we'll see what happens with that. And I will definitely be watching for that because I'll be interested to see, are they studying it more? What's going on with that? But anyways, it's not something you can predict. I think it's the same thing with having a genetic line that has autoimmune. Is this child going to get it? Are they not?
Do they have the antigen or not? That sort of thing.
I've seen my autoimmune condition show up a little bit on one of my younger nephews. And I just told him what it was. I was like, I think that's this, but you're young yet. So see, he doesn't have it right now. And he seems to be doing super well and super healthy. So I don't really see any signs of it currently. So if he does have a flare later in life, I'll obviously share that with him again. But I'm always looking at all my nieces and nephews.
You're like, let me inspect you.
And here's the deal. It took me so long to get diagnosed that I don't want that to happen for them. And I've had signs since I, like I said, was a small child. I don't remember not having it. And so it's just odd to me since I did manage it a bit with certain treatments, but I was never given, oh, this is what that is. I was just given the treatment. Okay, do this. But I wasn't told what it was until I was 31. I had an idea. I wasn't stupid, but no doctor sat down and said, do you know that you have this? I don't see it written in your chart. Or a nurse reading my chart. So I thought that was interesting. I get it when I'm small, they might not do that. But by the time I was getting a little bit older, really 31.
You're like, let's document this at least.
Yeah. And you know which one I have. But what's interesting is they looked at my nails. That was a big giveaway.
Really? I would have never thought that. But I guess the doctor in charge of looking at all of that, nails do come under their scope. So that would make sense.
Yeah, exactly. I thought that was interesting too, though. I'll go, oh, is that what it is? Yeah. Look at this one and look at this one. I'm like, oh, interesting. Yeah. Yeah. No, I nerd out on that kind of stuff. So I'm probably rambling by now. But speaking of health and wellness and those types of things, that's a lot of what MLMs sell, the health and wellness protein shakes and wellness supplements and things like that. There's another MLM, Utah-based. Shocker. I don't know why they're all based in Utah.
We have an idea why. Because it affords the people who do well in them to be at home, and they typically target a specific type of demographic, meaning they target women.
And Utah culturally does value a parent being home, which it is a great thing to have a parent home, of course. So no hate there, but it is a state that does tend to value that. Absolutely. Good point. And please, anybody from Utah, tell me I'm wrong. But yeah, Modere has shut down. They shut down last month. I had no idea.
Wait, I don't know which one that is.
Oh, I wasn't super familiar with them either. I mean, there are so many because it blew up in the late 2000s and 2010s, more than just the Avon and the Mary Kay. Those were the big ones. But then it's like, we got Young Living and we got a bunch of other ones. And listen, I watched people I knew do really well in MLMs in the 90s. I did. I knew many people in them. They were successful and helped people pay for college.
And that was before social media, by the way. They were just boots on the ground, door to door.
I love that you bring that up because I think social media is what turned MLMs to become, unfortunately, a little bit more on the unethical side. If you're in an MLM, I don't mean any hate to you. You can completely disagree with me. Please, there's no hate, no shade. But it did become unethical, I think, because it opened the doors to being able to get people to sign up underneath you in ways that they didn't completely understand. And it's no, you don't need social media to do that.
But you can reach more people that way.
And it's a less kinesthetic way of joining. They just see it. They've only seen it with their eyes. They haven't been working with you for 2 years. And for example, using the skincare, liking it, loving it, all of these things. Maybe it's somebody you knew from high school 15 years ago. And they go, you know what? She seems to be doing really well. I saw her on a boat last weekend in Hawaii last month. So maybe I will join what she's doing. I've never really used the product, or, oh, I bought that one thing from her. It's a little less kinesthetic. Does that make sense? Where they're joining with a lot less experience.
It's more observational and aspirational. They're seeing what the successful top of the top people are able to accomplish, what they're able to afford, what they're doing with their lives as a result of where they're at in the company. And they see that and want it. Who can blame them? But I should acknowledge that I literally just yesterday actually placed an order for an Arbonne, a couple bags of protein.
There is no better tasting vegan protein. It sucks, but you can't find one. And I don't mean sucks in that, oh, Arbonne, like you're horrible. But if you don't want to use an MLM because of what they've become in modern day.
Yeah. So I do want to acknowledge that it's not like we're anti-MLM. It's just,
we've seen the good, the bad, the ugly. We actually have a unique perspective that way, where we are on one side or the other per se, because like I said, I've seen what it has done for a lot of women in my life, but I've also understand that there's some issues when you look at.
It's like the salary breakdown. This is how much you'll be paid if you sell this much or whatever. And if you achieve this level, then you're living the life of the people who are doing exceptionally well. But it's something that people don't realize. It's truly unattainable for most people.
And I think you really do need, if you have a product, you need to be allowing people to just pop in and buy that product and move on. But when you're an MLM, that's the only way. Sign up as a VIP member or sign up as an actual distributor or whatever partner, whatever name they give it. And it just gets unethical that way, because then you end up spending money every month when maybe it'd be every couple months on
maybe
that
you
one
wouldn't
product.
need it. Yeah. And I think that's why I'm really grateful for the person I know that is able to order it. It's not their job. They just have a membership where they don't make any money off of me, probably. I can order a couple bags of protein and they last me for a few months. And I'm really grateful, because it is hard between dietary restrictions, allergies, to find something that also tastes good and is healthy.
It's the best tasting vegan protein powder I've tried, and I have tried several. Another one that sort of hits it that I moved on to from Arbonne, just purely access, it's much easier, it's called Kachava. It starts with a K, Kachava. It's delicious. It used to only be online that I found it, but now I'm pretty sure that they have it. Was it Target or Sprouts that I got it at? Yeah. So I always have a bag of that just in case. I'm not really a protein powder girly right now. I'm not in that phase, but it is a really nice thing to have for breakfast when you want to start your day, but you're not super duper hungry, but you want something nutrient dense. It's nice to have, but I got to this point where am I like convincing myself to like
that I like this
protein drinks and stuff? I don't have to eat this. I can make an egg or two and have a piece of organic toast.
I like it because sometimes it feels like dessert. Do you know what I mean? The way Tim makes it, he probably adds so many more calories, but he'll put Greek yogurt in it. He'll put a banana in it. And I always get the chocolate. I don't get any other flavor. And it just always feels like a dessert or a treat, but I'm drinking it for breakfast. So it feels exciting that way.
That's what's great about just a straight protein powder. The Kachava is technically like a meal replacement. You can use it like a protein
you probably
powder.
shouldn't add stuff.
You could and you should, but it's got a lot of superfoods. And that's a buzzword. People try not to buy into it too much, but it has, quote, superfoods.
We're visual. We're filming this, so we can see that you did the air quotes.
Oh,
now
air quotes. That's right. So air quotes if you're not watching this. But yeah, so you don't have to add things, but you could add even more protein if you want a little higher protein to hit protein goals or whatever. But I'm going to be honest, and this is just a human who didn't study nutrition. I think what most especially say Americans, British, Canadian, what we need to focus on the most is fiber. Protein's important, but we're not getting into issues for having under protein or being low on protein, although that could make you higher in fat.
I would say like certain demographics probably need more protein than others. But yeah, you're right. As a general public sort of thing, we probably do need more fiber because there's that increase that we keep seeing in colorectal cancers.
And it is likely believed that because on average, I think we get 10 or 15 grams when really you need about double that in fiber every day.
Everyone is just constipated. We need you to eat your fiber. Go potty.
And even if you're regular, you can still be constipated. A doctor told me, that's just the doctor that I know when I was talking about fiber, but I don't know. Again, I'm not a medical professional. So there's so many things that also just aren't something that you could blanket for everybody. It depends on your blood work and what's going on for you. How are you feeling? And when are you feeling like that? That's what's important. So when we're talking with doctors, that's what we should be talking about, because taking this full circle back to social media and MLMs and things like that, it's this like blanket prescription of things from like wellness influencers and things like that. We should be doing like, oh, you should be getting this much protein and this. I am still waiting for somebody to come up with a meal plan that has 20 to 30 grams of fiber, that has 100 or so grams of protein, and is within 1,500 to 2,000 calories, all of those types of things. I'm still waiting to see that perfect day of eating.
Have you ever seen a nutritionist on your own?
I don't think I have on my own ever gone to a nutritionist.
I had a few visits with one just because I'm so limited on what I can eat. And it was really nice actually to be able to have a whole basically meal plan planned out for me. They gave me a lot of options on, all right, this is how you can eat and hit all your health nutrient goals while also avoiding what you can't eat. And they also said, oh, what's your lifestyle like? Are you looking to cook every day? Are you looking for a little bit more prep so that you don't have to be in the kitchen all day, every day? And it was really nice, actually.
But still, I'm waiting for somebody, even just one day, that again packs the protein, the right amount of calories, right amount of fiber. I think that is something that we're missing. And when I say it's the suggested for most humans, because there are a few things that, since we all share a human body, that's going to be most suggested outside of having certain conditions, I'm sure. But I'm still waiting for that. Great. The info is fine on here's how you can do it, but it's no, write that perfect day of eating out, because I don't think it exists. So you almost have to not look at your eating as a day, but like to me, almost as a week. Oh yeah, I didn't have that much fiber yesterday. I should probably focus on that today. Don't overeat.
You're going to supplement the day after or the day before.
Just making sure you keep yourself on track with that or this. Yeah. I don't know. We've talked about this in other episodes before too, because that's just kind of the phase in life we're at, where it's okay. I want to look back and know that I was treating my body. I've talked to my therapist about that actually. I had this fear of failing my body, but also I have this food fixation on Chick-fil-A. So help.
How do we balance this?
How do we balance this exactly? Narrow, spicy food fixations are real. We probably talked about them before too. I can't remember because we both like.
Oh yeah, we definitely like what we like. That's for sure.
Yes, but then it's done. It's done. But there are some things. Eggs are like that too. I will go a long time without eating eggs.
Oh, they gross me out.
Like the thing I crave.
That's why when you're oh, there are other ways to eat protein. I'm like, but they involve eggs sometimes or red meats. And those are all like things I don't necessarily gravitate towards, but I'll eat occasionally.
I do not do red meat. I don't do any mammals. I still get my protein. I don't get blood work back that they say, ooh, this is showing me you should up your protein. If anything, it's always, oh, let's get a little more fiber. And I do focus on my fiber because a lot falls into place if you focus on fiber. I do focus on that because it levels out your blood sugar. So having fiber with 10 grams of sugar versus having 10 grams of sugar with an item like a cookie that probably doesn't have much, if any, fiber, you're going to get a different spike. And I think that's the right thing to, at least for me and my blood work and things like that, that's an important piece to pay attention to. And I just constantly hear about protein. So maybe it's just a bit of trigger in me, but it's like, you're getting enough protein. Even if you're vegan, you're probably getting enough protein because protein is in vegetables. Protein is in beans, which I think beans are they're a legume, but they're an edible plant. So I think that makes it a vegetable. So you're getting it from your vegetables. You're getting it from beans. You're getting it from meat. If you eat meat, it doesn't need to be red meat. You get it from fish. You're getting protein. So let's get some fiber. And you're right. I mean, we're on track to millennials, I think, and later Gen X. They're expecting that the type of cancer for us is going to be colon cancer is going to be maybe the most common cause of death. And so that's frightening. And I think it's just something that just try our best because it all goes back full circle.
Yeah, you can't predict what's going to happen to you, but you can try your best to live how you deem healthily or something.
Summer's here, and you can now get almost anything you need for your sunny days delivered with Uber Eats. What do we mean by almost? Well, you can't get a well-groomed lawn delivered, but you can get a chicken parmesan delivered. A cabana? That's a no. But a banana? That's a yes. A nice tan? Sorry, nope. But a box fan? Happily yes. A day of sunshine? No. A box of fine wines? Yes. Uber Eats can definitely get you that. Get almost anything delivered with Uber Eats. Order now. Alcohol in select markets. Product availability may vary by region. See app for details.
This episode is brought to you by GM Genuine Parts and AC Delco. Get the most out of your vehicle with GM Genuine Parts and AC Delco original equipment. The only parts designed, engineered, tested, and backed by General Motors. You can find your perfect fit for most makes and models and choose from 3 tiers of parts, including GM OE or gold and silver aftermarket parts. Visit gmparts.com for more information.
Anyone can follow. It takes something special to be an original, which is why the 2025 Lincoln Navigator SUV arrives with new ways of surrounding you in luxury, including the ultra-wide 48-inch panoramic display and the multi-sensory Lincoln Rejuvenate experience. A true original never stops evolving. So meet the 2025 Navigator, the original that's all new and better than ever. Learn more at Lincoln.com. Lincoln and Navigator are trademarks of Ford or its affiliates.
Jif peanut butter. It's that Jiffing good, it doesn't really need advertising. So instead, enjoy the calming sounds of the ocean. Jif. Ooh, it's that Jiffing good. Get your Jif at Jif.com.
Hey, it's Bill Simmons from the Bill Simmons Podcast. The NBA playoffs are here, and Michelob Ultra is getting you closer to the game than ever with courtside seats and more. Enter now at MichelobUltra.com/courtside. Michelob Ultra Superior Access Courtside 2024 to 2025 sweepstakes. No purchase necessary. Open to U.S. residents 21 or older. Ends on July 1st, 2025. Multiple entry periods. Visit MichelobUltra.com/superior access/courtside for free entry deadlines, and official rules. Message and data rates may apply. Void where prohibited.
But I want it to go back to reality TV, if you don't mind.
I will never mind that.
Last week, we chatted about Polyfamily on Unscripted. And
I did watch. I promise.
That's what I was going to say. After we recorded, I got quite a few text messages from a certain someone who said that they were watching. And I just wanted to get your reaction on the record for everyone. What did you think? Did you tap into and have the same reaction that I did to the parenting? Let's dive in, if you don't mind. I haven't caught up on episode 2.
There's some tea already. I actually want to start with that.
Yes. Thank you.
Sean might have, I think, 5 more kids.
I sent you that TikTok. Okay. So apparently Sean's ex-wife and Tyler's sister. So Tyler's sister is estranged from Tyler now. She doesn't have any relationship, but she did appear on the show. She showed a couple of clips. They were going on lives on TikTok and, like you said, spilling tea. They're letting people know that there is a lot going on behind the scenes that maybe we won't learn in the season, but that we should be aware of now that this person or this group is in the limelight.
I knew it was going to be a wild ride. I just knew it. You could tell. And I do think that there's that clear favoritism happening. If you ask me,
you don't need to just ask you. It's all over the internet. Everyone can tell who the favorite is. So for our listeners who haven't watched or maybe aren't as online as we are, the favorite couple or pairing would be Taya with Tyler, who they're clearly in love, but they're married to other people who are also dating each other. And then Sean also prefers Taya, in my opinion.
I fully agree. I think they both prefer Taya. And then the other wife, Alicia.
The ironic thing is, it was her idea to pursue this couple.
Yes. And it's interesting, though, because she's playing it off. Oh, we're not touchy-feely. Like me and Sean, we're not touchy-feely. No, Tyler and Taya are just touching each other and they don't care about you guys.
Well, okay. So there's a clip of Sean dry shaving Taya's legs because she's 9 months pregnant. And they do show she has an eternity anklet that's basically prominent for ownership or something in the BDSM community. I was reading about it in comments. I have no idea. I've never seen one in real life.
You gotta love the TikTok comments. You will learn so much. And I know people spread misinformation all the time.
I double checked though, like before I repeat this.
I do the same. I'll read something intriguing in the comments. They'll be like, there's no way. Is that true? And you're like, oh, whoa, it is. I'm telling you, those TikTok comments, you'll learn so much.
Honestly, I have more fun reading comments than sometimes watching the videos.
Easily. They're the best. And they're hilarious. People are so... Why can I not be that?
Well, you want to know why they're so funny? It's because one person's funny, and then that comment will get a ton of attention. And then on another video that's a similar topic, other people will start repeating that one funny comment.
I have seen that too, where you're like,
we know you didn't come up with that, but that's fine.
We went on a deep dive from the OG video. Okay. So don't worry about it.
Yeah.
But it is interesting. And I do think that it's not just about Alicia and Sean not having physical touch as their main love language. I really just think that they're not super interested in each other. So they're more aloof with each other. And yet Tyler's not touching Alicia because he's fulfilled through Taya, and Taya's not touching Sean. But meanwhile, we're just not like touchy-feely. So for us and with the other partners, we're just...
And I literally saw an interview clip. You know how they have like the talking heads throughout the episode. So we'll see what's happening and then they'll be interviewed. Alicia literally is talking about how she would feel if Tyler is the father of Taya's baby. She has tears in her eyes as she's trying to convince herself and the audience that she's okay with it.
And because I think maybe in her heart of hearts, she is, but that part of your brain, that jealousy or envy or whatever, or that hurt, let's even call it hurt because it hurts. That would hurt.
Absolutely. I think that not everyone could be in that sort of dynamic. It's not meant for everyone.
People argue, we're not actually meant to be monogamous. But it's like, when you really break down the brain, it is wired to pair off, even down to best friends. You can even see in friend groups. I'm thinking back in a friend group that I had. It was a pretty large friend group. And then 4 of us from that friend group were really close. And the other 4 were really close. But then of those 4, these 2 are best and these 2 are best. All 4 of us can be best friends, but these 2 are the closest. So it's 8 girls and you can split it down to 2 in each pairing. Our brains are wired to do that. That's based on a study I read too. I'm holding my hand up.
Oh,
hand
really?
to God. I'm making fun of myself. It is, obviously.
And that's why we also see, and we saw this presented in White Lotus when we talked about it a couple weeks ago, the pairing of 3 friends, Leslie Bibb, that whole dynamic on the show. And it just shows that 3 is an uneven number and it's always going to be lopsided. 2 are going to be closer and maybe it won't always be the same 2, but at any given time, there are going to be 2 that are closer to one another and then leave a third out, basically.
Sure. 3 is a crowd. So I think that's why when I'm thinking about historically for myself, it was 4 and 4. 3 is a crowd. Somebody's going to feel left out at some point, but also it went deeper and discussed that there's going to be 2 at any given time that are a little bit more bonded. And there are dynamics that can change. We're not arguing that, but even when they change, it's still changing towards this innate pairing off.
Well, I'm even thinking about, we're both from families with 4 siblings. We love them all the same, but you're never always close to the same person. You know what I mean? You always have a different relationship with one sibling than you maybe have with another. And it doesn't mean that it's lesser, you love them any less. It just means at this moment, perhaps we're going through a similar thing. We are able to relate to one another a little bit better than the other one. And it changes. It evolves over the course of your life from childhood to teenagehood to adulthood. It's always just a little bit different.
And I think that when I look at my own story of being one of 4, my relationship is exactly as you said. It is very different with all 3 of my siblings, not necessarily in closeness per se, because that is where being a sibling does differ. That bonds you for life kind of thing most often. Shout out to those who may struggle in their relationships within their family. We see you, we feel you, but it is exactly that. I turn to them for different things. I remember even when we started this podcast, I remember telling you, hey, do you mind if I talk to my brother about this, that, and the other? Because my brother does own his own business and learned from my uncle who owned a business. And so there's certain things I turn to him for. There's certain things I turn to my oldest sister for. There's certain things I'm going to turn to my sister who's 2 years older, who usually that involves humble me a little bit. He will never let me think
Humble
I'm
me
cool or right.
Remind me of what exactly happened.
Tell me the real deal is what I'm actually really looking for, because she knows she will not ever let me think something that is maybe incorrect or incorrect in her eyes, depending on whether it's opinion or fact. But I'll be like,
that is the job of an older sister. What can I say?
Says the older sister, right? No, I'll call her and I'll be like, I read this and it was freaking me out. Oh, I don't even care. Here's why.
I love her.
She's just very real with that kind of stuff. So I appreciate that. So sometimes I'll do that. Or when Posey got that rat and I was spiraling, what the hell do I do? I was on the phone with her. So luckily she was able to kind of help me through a couple of things like, no, you don't need to call Randall home from work to deal with the rat.
Yeah.
And just help me through a bunch of stuff. So anyways.
It's interesting too, as siblings get older, because I don't know if you've experienced this exactly because you are the youngest. I'm on the older end, so I have younger siblings and an older sibling. But it is interesting that dynamic change when the younger siblings, because I'm 5 years apart from my youngest sibling. So not that much compared to you and yours, but it's still significant when you're in school days. So it is interesting to see how it shifts from being the older sister to more peer-like. And the other day, I texted something out to the family group chat and was, hey, something got delivered. I was waiting for a big package and it was supposed to get here on a day that Tim could bring it inside. It was 200 pounds. And I was like, there's no way that I can bring this inside. Plus, it's raining. The delivery man left it on the porch on the uncovered part. So I was like, I don't know who can help me, but can someone stop by? Whatever. And he's, yeah, me and my girlfriend will be there. No big deal. And it was just, oh yeah, he's an adult. He's so helpful and sweet that way. Otherwise, before he'd be like, I don't know, ask dad. You know what I mean? It's just so different.
That reminds me when I got my master's and I was talking to my brother, something about kids or what's good is done. And I was like, oh yeah, you have your master's now. I guess I should take what you say more seriously. Oh yeah, I guess you did study certain things with psychology and counseling and you've worked with kids and things like that. So I was like, yeah, maybe you should take me seriously. Yeah, exactly.
Respect.
I do know things. I did put in a lot of work and pay a lot of money.
I wish I got that level of respect when I got mine, but mine's a little bit more on the creative end. So everyone just looks like, oh, so you spent more years in school.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
Yours is very important and it involves a lot of writing, and getting a master's just involves a lot of writing.
Honestly, I was thinking about that the other day. If I had to go back, I don't know if I would want to.
Oh, not at this age. Not like we're old, but I couldn't do it.
I always considered myself a lifelong learner, and I still do, but I don't know if I could do it in a classroom with assignments. I'm over that. I want to do what I want to do in my time off nowadays. You know what I mean?
I think it's because we both are college level instructor.
Maybe. Yeah.
And work in education. So I think it's because we both work in education as college level instructors. We just couldn't imagine being back in the classroom in the other way. Not necessarily negatively. It's just we've put in so much time and we still are. It's just hard to picture doing that.
And that's what makes me respect the older students that I do get in my classes so much more. It's because, wow, okay, you're willing to sit here and hear what I have to say, and I'm 2 decades younger than you. Good for you. And you turn in your assignments, and they're always the ones that are turning in their assignments, doing everything, coming to office hours. So there are people that are willing to be that sort of lifelong learner. Just me at this point, I don't mind conferences and things like that, but I just feel I want to learn about what I want to learn about this week, and maybe it'll change next week.
My parents are doing classes, actually, and one of them is cribbage. They're having a lot of fun with that. I'll tell you what school they're doing it through after, but it's like a card and dice game, I think.
Okay. I've never
my dad
heard of
taught
it.
my husband, but I didn't get to learn how to do it when my dad was teaching my husband. But yeah, so they're learning things like cribbage, but other things too, more than just that. So they're doing these classes and gone to school that they never really got to do because they had 4 kids starting as teenagers. So it is cool to see them exercising their brain, being out with people in retirement, because I always wondered what retirement would be like for them. And I'm so happy that it's so good to them. And you can see how happy they are, because you never know. My dad worked at the same place for 50 something years, the same place, because he had a baby daughter as like a teenager. And he was like, hey, here's this job and I'm staying here and I'm going to work hard. So that's a huge part of your identity, 50 something years. So anyways, it's cool to see them going back and being that lifelong learner. So who knows what that'll mean for us when we're older? Maybe we'll be learning cribbage together.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
At the same school. So I'm going to tell you where it is.
And that's why I probably should acknowledge that may end up back as college students one of these days. We never know where life is going to lead us. And colleges do offer some really exciting classes. Sometimes I'll look through the catalog and think, oh my goodness, that is really cool.
No, I'm a nerd when I work with my students and they tell me what they're taking or what they want to take, and I'm helping them with anything like that. I'm like, I want to take this with you, but I can't. And they think it's so funny. I'll be like, oh, I want to take that too. That's so cool. They think I'm ridiculous.
One thing that's really cool too is even considering taking a workout class, because you paid for it. And yeah, you can do that at a gym, but sometimes you just make that monthly donation to your gym and don't end up showing up. But when you know it's going to be on your transcript as a grade, you show up.
Yep. This is how I convince my students that for their particular programs have to have an exercise course. Not many of them do, but there's a couple of different majors. And that's how I convince them. I'll be like, look, this is organized workout time. Be happy, because when you're me, I sit in this chair all day. I have to go home and exercise, or I have to do it before work, which I'm a sleeper. I don't do that.
I don't know. You wake up pretty earlier than me, I feel like.
I love mornings. I do. The vibe of a morning is nice, but I don't want to do anything. I want to just slug. And I wake up between probably 7 a.m. and 9 a.m. It just depends on how late I went to bed. 7 a.m. would be really early for me. Real early. Should I be telling my routine to people? Do they even care?
I think it's fine.
Yeah. But I'm not too late of a sleeper, but yeah, I could sleep in a little bit. You're right. But and your thing is you'll wake up and then you'll pass back out until late, huh? Am I wrong?
No, I mean, that's accurate. I feel like when you work from home, I work from home the majority of the week. My schedule is very dependent on how I feel that day physically, or what I was able to accomplish the day or night before. You've definitely been texting me at midnight and I'll say, oh yeah, I'm vacuuming right now. First of all, it's because my vacuum has a laser on it. So it's so much easier to see all the dog hair with the lights off.
In the dark.
Yes. Oh, I love it.
don't turn on the lights with my vacuum that has a light on it. I don't turn on my lights. And I am going to update my Dyson to get the one that has the light on it, or buy the third-party part that comes with the light. But I don't like third-party things. I feel like they burn up battery quicker when something isn't from the actual brand and made to go with it. Exactly. I feel like it's not always as efficient. It makes me a little bit nervous. I'm weird like that. Or a third-party charger. No way, no how.
It's hit or miss, because
hit or miss.
We ordered an extra battery for our vacuum off Amazon. It's non-brand, but it was the smartest thing we ever did. We're like, we have multiple batteries now. Let's just keep this thing going, because we have a very fluffy dog. This house has to get vacuumed every day.
We both have double-coated dogs, and the Roomba goes off every night, and then we vacuum once, twice, 3 times a week.
Otherwise you have tumbleweeds
coming over. Or you have tumbleweeds. And then upstairs, I bought not another Dyson, but a vacuum that TikTok sold me on. So ridiculous. And it's actually a great little vacuum. With the attachments, it's not so great. but the regular form that I basically need it for, amazing. The light, it's got great power. It's Homika. So if you're looking for a cheaper vacuum and you don't need it in an area with all the attachments to clean your couch, because I don't know why it just weakens it a little bit. Attachments don't help clean my couch really well or anything. But the floor with that light, the light's amazing. The power with that floor attachment, amazing. Homika, it's under $100. I just need a cheap upstairs vacuum for my rug and my floors. But I think I'm probably going to update my Dyson because now my husband is constantly going upstairs and using that one. I literally bought an expensive Dyson a couple years ago, and that thing is amazing. That thing works. But anyways, something else that's interesting that I think those lifelong learners we were talking about, it would probably trip them out, or if they're finding out about it, it's tripping them out, is Starbucks just opened its first 3D printed store.
What?
An entirely 3D printed store. Oh, yeah.
What state? That feels like very techie. So is it Northern California, Bay Area, or is it Seattle?
It's Texas,
Oh,
Brownsville,
okay.
Texas. I know. I'm surprised that it wasn't Utah or California because they have little Silicon Valley. I forget what they call it, but it's Silicon Hill, I think they call it, in Salt Lake City, which is really techie. And then obviously we have the entire Silicon Valley here.
But I feel like a lot of tech companies are also moving to Texas. So maybe that's also why.
Probably. Lots of space and not a lot of regulation. So there probably are some that are moving out there for sure. But isn't that crazy that the whole store is 3D printed and they do use proper material. It's not made out of plastic. They have also been playing around. The first time I saw anything like this was on a YouTube video. They're twins and they used to be called Millennial Crisis, even though they're baby millennials. But their names are Monica and why am I forgetting the other one's name? I can't remember. I probably just made a horrible face there. I'm thinking. So Monica and her twin, they now both have their own YouTube channels. And one of them is heavily involved in real estate. I think they both are to a certain extent.
Did they buy a house together?
At one point, they did in Seattle.
Their first house. Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Because I wanted to find out one time when I came across them if they were in a fight or something. I think that's the only time I've ever seen them pop up on my thing, but keep going.
Maybe, I think their last name is Church. Monica Church, and is it like Sydney Church? Oh my gosh, why am I forgetting? I know the name. I've been watching videos off and on for years of them. But so one of them, I forget who now, so I apologize to you, Church twins, which one of you did this because it was a while ago, but they took us on a tour of a 3D printed house, which is so wild to have a 3D printed house. I feel like that's going to be the new manufactured home. What some people call them mobile homes or whatever, but the actual designation is like a manufactured home. I think that's going to be more of the way of what we're going to see instead of the aluminum based or whatever they are. It's going to be more like that. I think, I don't know, because it's pretty cheap.
I wouldn't be
guess.
surprised if that's how people start building their ADUs or something like that.
Yes. Yes. Like things like that, because it seems to be an accessible way where you could just be like, okay, I want that one. And you work with whatever 3D printing company. They come out with the cement or whatever they
lay the
pour
foundation.
Out. It's like a material.
There you go.
Yeah.
How cool.
So Brownsville, Texas is getting a 3D printed Starbucks. And I think it's only going to be drive-through. I don't think you're going to be able to go indoors. But again, they're making houses like this. So these types of buildings you can go in. I don't know much more about the safety or anything.
We have to imagine that it wouldn't pass code if it weren't safe. And there are going to be workers inside making the beverages and serving the cheese danishes or whatever people are buying.
I think they probably did it that way to cut costs on the size of it. Construction crews do work with them, which I actually think is really nice. So hopefully it doesn't hurt construction. And I think a lot of this AI and 3D printing and things like that, I think we are going to see it managed by people in different ways and that the jobs are going to change a little bit, but there still are going to be humans needed, at least during our lifetime. But so the construction crews are working with the arm as it methodically lays layers of concrete to build the structure, and it prints out in layers, just like a printer would print out ink or a 3D printer would print out the plastic to make something. It's cool. There are lines. You can see visible lines. We'll probably post a picture of the Starbucks in the unscripted post. But yeah, so it's pretty cool to see where all this is going. This 3D printing that started out making little toys out of plastic. It's making buildings that I think that they are, I hope, environmentally.
Well, if they're using all the same materials that other buildings are using, I can't imagine anything's that much different.
Yeah, it seems very practical, actually. And this article is kind of referencing that a little bit too, but it actually just opened up on Friday, May 2nd at 2491 Boca Chica Boulevard in, again, Brownsville, Texas. So, hey, if you're in Brownsville and you've been, let us know.
Take a pic.
Yeah, we can see pictures in the article, but let us know how it's going. And do they have a little patio out there for you? Couldn't quite tell there because obviously those pictures are before it's open. So very interested in that. Maybe I'll have to Google Earth in a couple months when it's actually on Google Earth or something. But yeah, super cool to see that they're building houses. Like I said, I think that the mobile or manufactured homes of today, I think maybe we'll see them be more 3D printed because I don't see a lot of people needing or wanting to move a mobile home. So I think access to a smaller building that's built a little cheaper, it's one way to do it. So interesting. And we'll have to find that video from one of the church girls to show you the tour she gave us of the 3D printed house. So interesting.
I think this is a really good spot to wrap up. So thanks for joining us for this week's Unscripted. We'll see you on Thursday for our case coverage and then next Monday for another Unscripted.
Thanks for being here as always. And if you watched, thanks for watching. Hopefully I didn't make too many weird faces. I tend to be super animated, so I'm going to be like all insecure about that. So keep your comments nice, okay?
And we'll talk to you later. Bye.
Spring is here, and it's time for some spring cleaning. HomeAglow is here to deliver consistent and affordable support for you, too, to get your spring cleaning done. HomeAglow is a top-rated service platform dedicated to making your space clean and tidy. Their website allows you to book online, which allows you to instantly schedule a cleaner in your area for a special occasion, that party you're getting ready to host, or just to book some regular help to take some things off your plate. What's comforting is that cleaners have to pass a rigorous certification process, and they also have to maintain a 4.8-star average platform rating. We know you're going to love your cleaners, so make sure you rate them really well too. HomeAglow is also a fantastic way to support the cleaners in your community because 100% of the cleaning fees and tips go directly to the cleaner that you hire through HomeAglow. With that, we are so thankful that this episode is brought to you in part by HomeAglow. Now let's talk about their Forever Clean membership. Schedule your cleaning by simply going to HomeAglow's website, choose the day and time you're looking for, and how long you want the cleaner to clean for. Then you'll get matched with a cleaner. You can schedule as quickly as this week or get something on the calendar for next month to check it off your to-do list early. On the website, you'll be able to check out photos and reviews of background checked cleaners before booking the right cleaner for you. The best part is that Forever Clean membership we talked about, which saves you $30 an hour on all future cleanings. You can book unlimited cleanings starting at $19 an hour, backed by HomeAglow's happiness guarantee. HomeAglow services are only available in the US. Take cleaning off your plate by using HomeAglow. Head to homeaglow.com/diaries to get your first 3 hours of cleaning for only $19.